You can't think of two thoughts at the same time. Have you noticed? You can't. You can oscillate very quickly between two thoughts, but in the same instant, you can't hold two thoughts. Therefore, if I have a habitual negative pathway, what I need to do is displace it, replace it, set down a new groove of mind, make the old one disused, let it start to have weeds grow on it, and it's no longer utilized because I have a new pathway which I'm going to adopt, a positive one. This is where my second part of the session comes in. Meditation as a tool to set down a new path of consciousness. So just in summary, what I've said to you today is as follows. We have a sense of inner conflict. We can result that inner conflict in a state of insecurity, fear, stress, or we can move that consciousness into positivity and optimism. Now, that doesn't mean I close my eyes. There is COVID-19. There are riots in the streets. Do I close my eyes and pretend they're not there? Of course not. But I have to interpret those. And usually what happens with interpretation is I become a fortune teller. You become a fortune teller. And usually your fortune telling crystal ball says, wow, this is horrible and tomorrow's going to be even worse. You don't say those words, but that's what worry is. When a person worries, that means they're playing fortune teller and they're predicting a negative outcome. Well, guess what? You're not a prophet. You're not a crystal ball gazer. You don't know anything about tomorrow. There's a 50-50 statistical probability that tomorrow is going to be better or worse. Why do you jump to the interpretation of negativity? Unless you assume for yourself that capacity to be a prophet. And since you don't, since you can't, since you're not a prophet, well, at least I'm not, and there may be one of you that is, but I'm presuming that most of you are not, I'm going to say to you that you need to be able to take the 50 percentile of positivity. And I'm going to give you two reasons for that. One reason is positive thinking produces health and well-being. Clear statistical evidence. Secondly, positive thinking creates positive relationships. And as the Harvard University results from last year, where they noted that relationships are the predictor of joy and happiness, positive relationships is a very big one. So how do we retrain ourselves to say, you know what, COVID-19, I know that it too will pass. Baruch Hashem, Hashem has kept me intact. I look at the world and I see horrible results, but nevertheless, I find myself here listening to Rabbi Wolf, sitting together with Penny and being able to say, hey, I'm intact. Baruch Hashem. I know that it's hard. I know it's difficult, but I'm an optimist. I'll think positively. These are axiomatic. There's no proof of this, but this is a choice that you can make. So, retraining. What does the word meditation mean? The word meditation means basically focusing. If you consult Professor Google, who's the resident expert on everything under the sun, you will find some hundreds of definitions and examples of what is called in the contemporary world meditation. There isn't one right way of meditating. If anyone says to you, I know the way to meditate, steer clear of them. Meditation is just a word, but it's a tool that can be utilized. And the tool is that of focusing. What you focus on, why you focus, how you focus, well, that depends on the goals of the pathway from which it stems. Spiritual goals, psychological goals, physical health goals. There are many goals why you might want to focus and use what's called meditation. Unfortunately, the word, for most of us, is the result of some enterprising Eastern gurus who made their way across in the 60s and 70s to the West and reintroduced the word in a very specific manner. So most of our meditations that you and I colloquially refer to are Eastern meditations. That's fine, except that for Jewish people, it can be a problem. Because in a lot of the Eastern meditations, there is an element that we call Avodah Zarah, literally idol worship, or negative impacts on our soul. And now that's a strange concept for most of us. So let me just say very quickly, there are 71 different souls in creation. Why God created 71? Well, you'll have to send a letter to the editor. I have no idea. But God created 71. One of these is Jewish. And each soul system has its deliberate pathway in creation, what it needs to do. There are certain elements of each other that affect each other adversely. Avodah Zarah is one of these. So you have to be careful in Eastern meditations to be able to sift out that which is hurtful. But I'm not going to refer to that at all. I'm going to use focusing technique for physical well-being, mental stability. And you know, that's a mitzvah. Health and well-being is as much a mitzvah as is kashrus and Shabbos. There's no way that your inner self, your true inner personality, which resides in the neshama, that it can express itself unless the body is in good shape. And I don't mean body beautiful. I mean that it actually operates optimally. That requires what you and I call health and wellness. And that's why it is an absolute mitzvah. Otherwise, you can't express your inner self optimally as such. So I'm going to now take you through a few exercises in context of meditative focusing. And the first exercise I'm going to share with you is not an uncommon one based on breath. Now, why breath? And it's used in many pathways, both in terms of creating inner stillness and balance within and a sense of quietism within. But it's also used spiritually in some pathways. And that's because it's an easy focus. When you breathe, there's a toing and froing, in and out. There's a constancy of motion. And that's an easy one to focus on and take your mind from where it was before. It clears the mind. You're able to create that vacuum of space so that you have that moment of inner peace before you move forward. And moving forward will be the second exercise I'm going to take you through. But in Judaism, focusing on breath has some deeper spiritual insight. The Hebrew word for breath, neshima. The Hebrew word for soul, neshama. Obviously, etymologically, the two are related. We know that your breathing reveals the state of the flow of your soul. Or put it in another way, breath is the first level of expression of the soul. It tells us what's happening inside, mentally and emotionally. Give you a very interesting example. Do you remember back in Parashas Shemos, in the book of Shemos, the second book of the Bible, in that Chumash, an old man comes out of the desert, bearded, solemn, tall, stately, and he says to the Jewish people, you know, we're all going to leave and go to our promised land. Wow. Except the way that the people respond is, old man, go away. We're too busy. We've got this agenda. We've got taskmasters, and they're telling us what to do. We haven't got any time whatsoever to listen to rabbinim like yours. Rashi comments there, and he says the reason they respond like that is mikotzer ruach. What does that mean? Shortness of breath. They're breathing shallowly. They're breathing quickly. They're breathing stressfully. And therefore, under those circumstances, the response mechanism is inner negativity. Breath and state of being are utterly related. So that'll be our first exercise. Our second exercise, which we'll segue to during the course of the session, is one that deals with a sense of security and using visualization technique in order to be able to walk away with a sense of positivity about tomorrow. So that will be the two stages of our meditative exercise as such. One more word about theory of stress before I enter into the actual exercises. Stress does not exist out there. The riots don't cause stress. COVID-19 doesn't cause stress. I cause stress. It's my interpretation of what the media is projecting to me. It's my interpretation of the statistics that are being media projected in terms of illness and the like. The way I interpret creates the stress. Stress is not an objective enemy out there. Stress is how I read the situation negatively, causing worry. So you and I have power over stress. You and I can be stressed, or we can be de-stressed. Not distressed, de-stressed. And I want to indicate to you that the creative visualization technique that we'll be utilizing is for the very purpose of de-stressing as such. All right, let's go into the exercise. So wherever you are, just sit in a position of symmetry, feet next to each other on the ground, hands resting on your knees and thighs, back fairly straight without being too rigid, head well balanced on your shoulders, shoulders a little slumped, and gently close your eyes. And just focus on your breath, breathing quite normally, in and out, following your breath, being aware of it. And to be more aware of it, I'm going to ask you to breathe in and out through your nose. And as you breathe in and out through your nose, become aware of the difference in temperature of the air entering your nostrils compared to the temperature of the air exiting from your nasal passages. And just become aware that the air entering is somewhat cooler and the air exiting is somewhat warmer. If you slow down and deepen the in and out breath through the nose, that temperature difference will become much more marked. Slower, deeper breath in through the nose, cooler air, and out, warmer air. And just take 2 or 3 slow, deep breaths, focused on that temperature difference. Now, you may have noticed at the back of your mind that your chest was moving in and out. I want you, with your next breath in, to direct your air below your chest to your abdomen. And to do that, as you breathe in, expand your abdomen to collect the air, and then pull your abdomen in to expel the air. So take a slow, deep breath in through the nose, direct it down to the abdomen by expanding the abdomen, and then collect it and contract it and expel the air. This is a little counterintuitive, so you need to practice it. And the trick is to expand your abdomen as you are breathing in. So just practice it, breathing in, down to the abdomen, expanding it. And then contracting the abdomen, the tummy's pulled in to get the air out again. And practice for 3 or 4 more breaths, because it is counterintuitive. And notice that your chest will be relatively still now and that your abdomen will do the pumping. Slow it down, deepen it, and it's easier as you expand your abdomen to collect the inhaling. And now let's lend some rhythm to the breathing. We'll breathe in for a count of 3, hold for a count of 3, and breathe out for a count of 4. So take a slow, deep breath in, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4. Breathing abdominally, in, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4. And continue breathing in and out deeply, slowly, abdominally, rhythmically, gracefully, smoothly, a perfect cycle, a round circle. And become aware how relaxed you have become in the space of a few short minutes, simply by focusing on your breath. I'm now going to segue to the second part of the exercise. I want you to become aware of a glow of light in the center of your head. A gentle glow, warming, bringing light to your whole head. Become aware of that light within your head. Gentle glow, very pleasant. I want you to increase the intensity of that glow so that it begins to filter down your neck into your torso, chest and back area. Intensify it. Allow the light to filter in and warm your chest area, almost seeing that glow inside with your inner eye, feeling its warmth and pleasantness. Intensify the glow even further so it begins to filter through to your limbs, through your arms, hands, fingers, and now through your thighs, legs, feet, toes, feeling a pleasant, warm glow throughout your body. Intensify the glow further so it begins to glow from your skin, creating a glow all around you. That wonderful glow around you protects you. We call that Magen Avraham, Abraham's shield. And you create that aura around you, a shield that protects you physically, emotionally, spiritually. Be aware of the glow emanating from your skin, creating your aura around you, a Magen Avraham. feeling safe, secure. Intensify the glow further so the aura begins to surround all those in your home itself. Feeling very safe where you are, secure, bodily and spiritually. Allow to intensify further so that your glow reaches out into the world, leaving your spiritual signature, your footprint in the sands of time, making the world a better place, alleviating the tensions, alleviating the illness with your glow, your contribution, your aura, your neshama. Become aware of the aura around you again and commit yourself to review this visualization whenever fear starts to take hold, whenever worry begins to invade. Recall your protective layer, your Magen Avraham, that you always have around you. Focus again on your breath, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Registering the difference in temperature of the in-breath, cooler, to the out-breath, warmer. Begin moving your fingers and your toes wherever you're seated. Move your fingers now, move your toes. And when you feel ready, begin to gently open your eyes, coming all the way back, opening your eyes, and joining me once again. Well, for those of you who fell asleep, I won't be able to say goodbye to you, but be that as it may. What did we do then? It's something you can do at any time that you choose. We first created a vacuum inside of inner peace. It's not a vacuum. We supplanted any previous worries or concerns through previous thoughts with a moment of inner peace and balance, which segued then successfully to being able to inject a creative visualization, which gave us a sense that you and I are protected. In the same way as a mezuzah protects the home in a very broad ambit manner, so does your neshama extend and protect you. And therefore, when worry and concern starts to invade, stop and pause, gain balance, because worry does nothing but hurt you. Nothing is gained by that whatsoever. So let me just conclude with one particular teaching which I want to share with you. There are two words that describe the state of consciousness that we should adopt and always live like an aura around us. And the two words are emunah and bitachon. Emunah and bitachon. What are they? Well, we translate emunah as faith and bitachon as trust or security. But they're big words. and I don't necessarily know what those big words mean. So I'm going to give you a pragmatic understanding based on how the Lubavitcher Rebbe explained it. Emunah is the belief that everything that has ever happened to you is for your current good. Whatever it might have been, it's for your present good in ways that you and I can't possibly understand. Bitachon is the belief that the challenge you face now will have a positive outcome. Whatever challenges you have right now, they will end up well. So, Emunah deals from the past to the present. Whatever's ever happened to you, even if it were painful, God forbid, it's for your good in ways you cannot understand. Bitachon deals from the present to the future. The challenge I face now will have a positive outcome. And whatever the outcome that is, I still say, Gam zu l'tova. That too is for the good. Can I prove these to you? Absolutely not. They're beliefs. They're axiomatic propositions. But on the other hand, you can't disprove them either. We're on even ground. As I said earlier, there's a 50-50 statistical probability that really tomorrow won't be as good or will be better. If you opt arbitrarily for the positive, you get the benefits I said earlier, which are health and wellness. We know full well statistical evidence that people who are positive and optimistic are healthier, and people who are pessimistic correlate with illness. And secondly, as I said earlier, relationships improve. People like to be around positively minded people, don't like to be around pessimists and negative minded people. So if you want to enrich your range of relationships and the quality of relationships, choose axiomatically to adopt these two beliefs, Emunah and Bitachon. I guarantee you, your life will improve immensely as a consequence. And you'll read the future very differently. Your response to the media-driven fears, and media is calculated to cause fear because it knows its psychology well. If it can frighten you, you'll be glued to the screen. If you're glued to the screen, ratings will improve. If ratings improve, it becomes better commerce. It becomes better commerce, it's profitable. You are the patsy in this whole system. And therefore, you need to have your own composure. All right, that's enough